Welcome to Brain Lady Speaks with Julie Anderson. Julie Brain Lady Anderson is considered to be one of the nation's top experts on the brain-personality connection. She has been inspiring her audiences to fire up their brains and ignite positive changes in their relationships. And now she is here to bring that knowledge to you. The information she shares will help those who hear it to accelerate their success in life and business through the discovery of their natural gifts and maximizing their brain power. When you learn to tap into the potential of your natural gifts and the power of the brain-mind connection, there is no limit to what you can accomplish. Today and every Wednesday on Brain Lady Speaks, you'll explore the latest findings to see how they have practical application in your life. And now, get ready to join Julie Anderson on the Brain Lady Speaks radio show. Take it away, Julie.
Welcome, everyone, to the Brain Lady Speaks podcast/videocast. This is Julie Anderson, aka Brain Lady Julie, and I'm so excited because we get to talk about a really fun topic with an amazing guest today, EmNottage. Welcome to the Brain Lady Speaks show, Emma.
Thank you, Julie.
And the topic that we are going to be talking about, and the reason why I'm so excited is because it combines several of my passions, and the topic is on how music can support mental health and build confidence. And we are in a mental health crisis right now all over the world, coming out of these last couple of very tumultuous years, and combining that with brain health and then with music, because music is a passion, and I love the connection between music and the brain. And I'm so excited to be able to have this conversation with Emma this morning. But before we dive into that, let me read to you a little bit of her professional bio so you get a little bit of background on her experience in this arena. So Emma is a highly rated motivational speaker with 21 years experience in teaching primary school and 17 years as a one-to-one private tutor for music. Then in 2020, when everything turned upside down with everyone, she reinvented herself as a global online music tutor and fully embraced the online world. In 2021, she became a best-selling collaborative author and by contributing a chapter that's all about resilience, which we know is highly connected to the brain in life and business. And she's now writing a book about music and well-being. And we're going to get a little preview of what that book is going to be about. Also in 2021, she became certified as an NLP practitioner, a timelines coach, and a life coach, and is now accredited coach with the APC, which is the Association for Professional Coaching. She is passionate about how music can support mental health and build confidence, and also about music's true value in education and in society. She also loves helping her coaching clients to conquer their limiting beliefs, set smart goals, right, and move forward positively in life. She has spoken in Facebook groups, podcasts, online summits, and now she is here on the Brain Lady Speak show. She's based in Devon, the UK, and works globally online. So welcome to the Brain Lady Speak show, Emma.
Thank you again, Julie. It's great to be here.
I am so excited about this topic, as you could hear in the introduction, because we are facing something that music can be so helpful in. So when we talk about the neuroscience, our brains as human beings are geared for music. They just are, right? They are rhythmic. They are based on rhythmic firings. The different brain waves are all based in a rhythmic pattern, right? So we are wired for music. But before we really dive into that, give us a little bit about your musical background. So why are you so connected to music?
Okay, so music has surrounded me my whole life. From when I was very little, when I was born, but my parents bought the song "Isn't She Lovely" by David Parton, and Stevie Wonder also sang it, and that was like my song. And I was also rocked in my crib to brass band music. My mum has a beautiful singing voice, and she used to play the piano. My dad isn't really musical, but he enjoys singing. And then my elder brother and sister are musical in different ways as well. My sister's 10 years older than me, and my brother's 13 years older. So they were a lot older, and I was young. But my sister played the clarinet, um, and my brother has dabbled with the drums. But growing up, there was lots of different music in our house. My brother was into the heavy rock bands in the 70s, 80s, like Rainbow and Deep Purple.
Oh.
Um, so I had that music loud around me. But also, we had a radiogram and a record player, and we were always a family that were either playing records or having the radio on, and music, surrounded us. And I think I just naturally loved it. I remember I've always been able to sing. And then later in life, I had my voice trained, but I naturally had a singing ability. And then in primary school, I got the opportunity to play the recorder and the piano. And then when I was 12 years old at secondary school here in the UK, I took up the French horn, the curly whirly brass instrument,
Mm-hmm.
and other things along the way. But when I tell this story and thinking about our topic today, I also sort of need to say about something that didn't work out at the time, which was when I was about 8 or 9 in junior school. I wanted to play the classical guitar.
Mm.
And I remember having an audition to see if I could do it. And I remember it was like a conveyor belt of children, and we had to go in and have a go and be told yes or no. And unfortunately, that the teacher at that time made a snap decision that I couldn't hold the instrument properly,
Oh.
and I didn't get that opportunity.
Mm.
And I know that because I'm quite a sensitive person,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that although I can't remember it really clearly, I'm sure that that affected me at that time, and I would have been quite sad. But I didn't let it stop me, because I went on to do other things like play the French horn, and I went on and I did a music degree. I've been a music coordinator in schools. And just to tell the story full circle, when I was doing my teacher training year, I actually bought myself a guitar, and through my course, I taught myself to play it, and it's now one of the instruments that I teach other people.
That's
So
awesome. That's awesome. So you didn't allow that disappointment to stop you, but to move on. So
yeah.
that's beautiful. Growing up in a family that is full of music, and music is so, I love the and I have to went under the umbrella of the topic that we're talking about, the build confidence part. How much do you feel that those experiences, I mean, for you to then as an adult, even though you weren't able to be accepted to learn it as a child, how much of the confidence that you had because of the other instruments you were skilled at, do you think gave you the confidence to teach yourself guitar?
Yes, yeah, definitely. I think it was the confidence of being musical,
Hmm.
because I see that now, that if you can play a different kind of instrument, or you can play quite a few, you have transferable skills that you find the other instruments fairly easy in a way, although they're completely different,
Right.
because you've got that musical language
Mm,
and you've got that musical foundation that, like you said about rhythm, if you're rhythmic, that can carry you through lots of different instruments.
yeah.
So definitely, I think knowing that I had the ability in other areas gave me the confidence to teach myself guitar.
Yeah.
Um, Definitely. And just sort of in that whole area of confidence, if you knew me as a very young child, you would think, how can she be doing this live? Because I was very, very, very shy, like painfully shy, really.
Mm, mhm.
And through early school, I was bullied, like so many of us are, unfortunately. And um, I was quite different, and it was the performing arts of not just music, but also drama and dance. I danced from when I was 5 till I was 18. And it was actually through my dancing school that my voice developed, because we did such things as song and dance. And one of my friend's mums said to my mum when I was a teenager, "Oh, you should get her voice trained." And that's where that went from there. I started off with my piano teacher, and then she got to the point where she said, "Emma, you've gone beyond where I can take you." And I went to a different teacher and actually had 4 teachers over the years. Um, and the same with different instruments as well. Um, but yeah, that whole confidence piece, I just wanted to pick up on I said about transferable skills,
Mhm.
because music, the fact that we can stand on a stage or do an exam if you want to, you don't have to, but
Mhm.
these are things that you can achieve. They can then help you in other spheres of life, like a job interview
Mm,
or
mhm.
or a presentation. It's
Yeah.
it's things that you can take through to other places. I think that's a valuable thing that music performance can give us as well.
I love it. It definitely can. And I like when we the music when you talk about it from a neuroscience point of view, the music being connected to dancing and movement, and how healthy for your brain and body the dancing and the movement is, it's all so beautifully connected in health from head to toe. And now what we're seeing such a huge rise, and the study on music, I pulled out one of my files, and I have many files on many different things of, articles and white papers and different things that have been printed on various neuroscience topics. But I have this real thick file sitting in front of me on the topic of music in the brain, and how impactful music can be on the brain, not just from brain activity. Now, I would love to see your brain scan because what's really interesting is there is the home of music, which is housed back here in the back right portion of the brain, the posterior right portion of the brain. And that, if any of us are listening to music with no training, that's the part that's going to primarily light up. But when you are multi-trained in different instruments, now you get this beautiful glow in your whole brain, right?
Yeah,
Your whole brain starts to activate, because in piano, in so many things, right? A piano, horn, it doesn't matter. You're utilizing your fingers so much. So now you've got the motor cortex firing. When you're reading those notes, you're utilizing, the left side of the brain and the Broca's or the Renwick's area to process all of that. And then you've got musical theory. If you add that in there, it's just like it just does such beautiful things for the brain. And I love and I don't know about what's going on in the UK, but I know in the United States, a lot of music programs have been budgeted out
Yeah,
of the
it's the
school
same
system.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you they need every school system needs to have this conversation, because it's such a benefit when you get that firing across the entire brain like that. It makes it so much easier for the whole brain to learn.
Yeah.
It's like working that whole brain muscle. So it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. So when we talk about it now, connected to mental health, so you had
Mhm.
shared with us before we went online, or before we started the recording here, that you personally had an experience, because music has the ability to tap into emotions so deeply, and it can either bring us down or it can lift us up and help to support us and raise our mental energy. What have you personally in your life? What has is an experience that you would like to share with us where music helped you to get through a difficult time in your life?
Yes. So there's a few things that come to mind. I always say that sort of music's been a constant friend. It's a bit like that John Miles song, "Music is my first love and it will be my last, music of the future and music of the past. To live without my music, it would be impossible to do, because in this world of trouble, my music gets me through." And
Mm,
I really do hold on to those words. Um, and if I go back to my teenage years, I, had a lot of the teenage angst, the hormonal changes that were happening. I used to be very emotional. I would cry like for no reason, but obviously there was a physiological reason.
mhm,
But the one thing that I used to do was I used to channel that emotion into sitting at my piano. And the piano again, if I was downstairs, it would be by my side, but I wasn't able to do my live there tonight. But my piano's been with me since I was a very little girl,
mm,
and it's another friend. Anyway, in my teenage years, I'd sit at the piano and I'd create, I'd improvise, I'd compose, and I used to play this music, and it became a little bit of a running joke in my family that my sister in particular would say, "Oh, we can tell Emma's in that mood again because she's playing that meaningful music."
mm,
And I know at the time that probably, got me a bit cross, but now as an adult and all the sort of research that I've done as well, I know that that's exactly what I was doing. I was channeling those emotions in a healthy way rather than, going out or punching a wall or something that's destructive. I was actually doing something creative and constructive.
mhm,
And it really did help to release those emotions. And over the years, I've used music in that way throughout my life. Um, 5 years ago now, I did actually suffer an ectopic pregnancy, and it was actually quite advanced, and I had to have emergency surgery. And I'm thankful to be here, because when I woke up, I was told, "We've saved your life." And when you hear that, it does change you, because, you know, it gives you a different perspective. And I'm a lot more pragmatic now these days. It's like, it is what it is.
mhm.
You can't change it, but we can change how we react to it, and
Absolutely.
we can move forward.
Mhm,
But just surrounding that piece, the ironic thing was, when I went into hospital, I was actually due to be playing the French horn the following evening in a concert in an orchestra that I play with. And I never want to let anybody down. And I remember going there and saying, "Can I come back after the concert?" And they were like, "No, for your health and safety, no." And it was like, oh, but another thing that got me through was I actually had a job at that time with the orchestra, of writing program notes. And I was still writing the program notes for our concert, and I had my laptop, and I got on with that, and I got it to a stage where I was just happy, and they called me to go. So that really helped. I wasn't even playing music, but I was thinking about music and
Right.
the life of the composers. But then I'd say in my recovery after my ecpic, because it's about a 6-week physical recovery,
Mhm.
because I had major surgery, but also the long-term mental recovery is much
Mhm.
longer. And music definitely, again, was something that helped me during that time. Playing my instruments, singing, but also just listening to music as
Mhm.
well. Um, so I think that I will always rely on music going forwards, to be that panacea, really.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, I wanted to just sort of say about the positivity of what music gives us, and I'm sure you know this as well. But when we listen to music, and even more so when we are involved in the actual
Mhm.
physical act of making the music, as well as it lighting up all parts of our brain, it also does the amazing thing of releasing our feel-good chemicals
Mhm.
of our endorphins, oxytocin, which is the love hormone,
Mhm.
um, dopamine, which is like the high, and it's a safe high with music,
Mhm.
and also serotonin that we get when we go out in the sunshine, along with vitamin D. So there's
Mhm.
all these feel good chemicals that are
Yeah.
released. And at the same time, which I love, our stress making hormones of adrenaline, but even more so cortisol,
Mhm.
is lowered.
Yeah.
So we have this balance. And I just think that's amazing. And listening to just 20 minutes of your favorite kind of upbeat music can turn your mood around from somewhere quite low to somewhere much more positive, and it's quite long lasting.
Mhm.
And I just think that's amazing that music has that power.
Yeah, it's fascinating what you just said, the points that you just said is shifting the chemistry. It also has the ability to tap into memory as
Yeah.
well. There was the documentary that was done several years back called Alive Inside, and that was all based on the ability of music to open up the memory circuits for individuals who had severe dementia or Alzheimer's, and they were almost non communicative, right? They weren't verbal, they weren't talking or engaging, and they would play the music, and boom, all of a sudden the lights went on upstairs, and they were able to access that. And it has a lot to do with that memory and that feel good and that flush of hormones and neurochemicals that take place in the brain upon listening to music. So how would you suggest, like, what are some good um good tactics, some good things to put into, like, I believe music needs to be on all the time. And I have different playlists for different things, right?
Oh, yeah.
When I just want to I just want to really feel good. This is going to sound silly. I put on my Disney tunes. I'm a little bit of a Disney freak. I don't know if you see Mickey back here, Mickey down here. Like, I do a little bit of Mickey in my life. And so, I love a lot of the music there. So I'll play that when I just need that, a kind of emotional lift. And then if I'm cleaning my house, it's big band, right? So it just kind of varies in my life based on what I'm trying to create in my brain. What would be your suggestion to the listeners if they're listening to this and understanding that, oh, okay, now I can shift that
Mm.
mental health? Because there's also, well, first, what would be your suggestion? And then I'm going to go in a little bit different direction, but what would be your suggestion for individuals listening to this going, oh, okay, so maybe I need to put this in my book of utensils that I use when I'm feeling down? What would you suggest?
Yeah, so I think the point you made about playlists for different purposes is great. Because, if we're going out for a jog or to the gym and we want to get motivated, then we're going to go for that sort of upbeat music, maybe for cleaning the house also. But if you want to be calm and peaceful, whether that is accompanied with meditation or whether it's to help you sleep, then you'll want to have a playlist of much different music. And they've actually found that 60 beats per minute, which is the same as our resting heart rate, is a really good guide to find music that's at that metronome speed,
Mm-hmm.
is really good for relaxation, but also for focus as well. So it's almost like a magic number, 60 beats per minute. So yeah, if you want some more restful things, check that out. Um, Something else which I've heard in recent years about stimulating the brain
Mm-hmm.
for focus and concentration is something called binaural beats,
Mm-hmm.
which is where you've got two slightly different tones in either ear, and the brain has to work that out. And it can be very good for stimulating the brain. The only thing is, if you're not used to doing it to start with, there's sort of a caveat that says just do it for 10 minutes
Mm-hmm.
at a time, because it is quite disorientating.
Mm-hmm.
But you can find playlists on YouTube of this special music. And you wear headphones, because it has to be headphones so that you hear the slightly different tones.
Mm-hmm.
But lots of people say that this is really good for concentration and also happiness. It has been suggested as well. I've not really used it myself, but it's
Mm-hmm.
something that I've looked into. Um, the one thing that I want to say is just be careful about your choice of music at any one time.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to self-regulate your listening. So, for example, if you are in a very low mood, while sometimes it is okay to listen to an emotional song because you sort of feel that affinity and it can help you because you feel you're not alone,
Mm-hmm.
and it can be positive. If you stay there too long, I think that's a little bit worrying,
Can be
and
dangerous, yeah.
and we need to come out of that mode to something more positive and uplifting. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to say that to the listeners, to just check in with yourself and think about your listening habits and think, are they healthy for me?
Yeah. I love that, because that was when I said I was going to kind of go in a different direction. That was the direction I wanted to hit. And this is a good time to remind all of the listeners, whether you're watching us on YouTube or you're listening on one of the podcast outlets, is if you are experiencing a serious depression, by all means, we're not giving medical advice here today. We're just sharing what some of the information that's come out of the field of neuroscience on this. But by all means, reach out and get help. Don't stay in or work at not staying in that very down, very low state. That can be very hazardous and dangerous. So if you are in that place, please do reach out to a professional, a mental health professional, because music can, if you find yourself utilizing music to maintain a lower emotional tone, you might not be in that healthy state, right? So go ahead and reach out to professionals and switch your playlist, because as you were just saying, Emma, it is important. And all of us we tend to, it's almost cathartic sometimes to hear somebody singing what you're feeling, if you're feeling down, but you don't want to stay down. There's a difference between having that feeling that hits you and then managing your emotions that come afterwards. And managing the emotions, you want to get up. There's a time for grieving, there's a time for processing those emotions, but you don't want to stay there, because then there's also a huge amount of information in the field of neuroscience of the damage that can do to your brain. So if you need to experience the grief or a loss of something, then by all means work through that. But click the playlist into something that's going to make you move a little bit more, that's going to make you feel a little bit better, that's going to raise those endorphins, reduce the stress hormones. And that's what we want to understand. So on that topic, what do you think? And because you're connected, to the scholastic system, what do you think would be a wonderful thing to, like, if you had somebody say, okay, we're going to give you the budget to institute something new in school for mental health and music, what would you do? If they gave you a blank check, what would you do? That's kind of a curved question. It's like, she's totally not prepared for this question.
It's a lovely idea. It's a lovely
performance just went off the
No, it's an amazing idea. I was sort of going to go down the route of talking about singing and how singing has been proved, in recent years, but it's almost like common sense. Music, and particularly singing, can bring joy to us. Yes, it's got things that are going on in the brain, but also the whole thing if you're with other people. So the social aspect, choirs and that type of thing, or even music groups. You are working with other people to create something, and there's a buzz from that. It's tangible. It's such an amazing thing. So I know earlier you were saying in the States, music is being squeezed out, and it certainly is here as well in the UK. Music lessons have sort of become only available to those who can afford it, sadly. When I was young, there seemed to be more opportunities within the actual school system that aren't there now, and there's such a emphasis on maths, English and science, and getting the tests, that those other subjects like music don't get the look in that they should. But they're the thing that make us this rounded individual. And also, I personally believe that humans are intrinsically creative. And it's what makes us who we are. So what would I do if I had a big budget? Well, I would give all children the opportunity to learn a musical instrument to sort of a good standard, not just a whole class set of percussion instruments, but actually give them tuition, just make more room in the timetable for creativity, composition, writing their own music. Songwriting is something that I would like to see a lot more in schools. So there's some ideas.
I love it. I love it. We often think about ways, how can we utilize this great information to help the younger generations, and especially when we talk about the mental health crisis, right? It's something that tends to be affecting people at a younger and younger and younger and younger age. These are the issues, and and I think part of that could be just because of the global reach of television and news and social media, and children at a younger age when they should be outside playing in the dirt, enjoying nothing, right? You know what I mean? Like enjoying just doing nothing but playing. They're sitting on their tablets, and they're seeing, all of these scary things, and it's affecting them mentally and emotionally. And to be able to kind of counteract that with something positive, like music, I think is a very good thing. A very good thing. Well, this is, we could go on. Like I said, I have this huge file in front of me, and we could just explore this topic so much more. But I really wanted to emphasize and get the point across about the benefits of how music can support the mental health and those of individuals who are suffering right now. Now you have, if because in addition to this, as I read in the bio in the beginning, not just your musical background, but you are a life coach and a goals coach. If someone is saying to themselves, wow, I'd really like to explore the music and the mental health connection there, and they would like to reach out to you, what should they do?
Oh, well, the best place, it's just coming up on the screen, I think, is reach out via my website. My website has all information about my two sides of my business, which is my music teaching, but also my coaching, and they can go together.
Mhm.
And also it has all the contacts, connections to all my social media professional pages, and also my email is there, so you can reach out to me that way. And I also have a Facebook group. It's also called the Musical Diamond. That's sort of my business name because I see music as multifaceted, like a diamond. And
I like that.
yeah, and there we look at how music relates to the whole of our learning, life, and health. And we've been going for about 2 years now, started in the pandemic. And I do a live show in there every week on our weekly topic. And some of the things that we have looked at over the years have been music and the brain, music and emotion, music and nostalgia, music and mental health, and lots of other topics. But there's lots of information in there on these sort of areas.
I love it. I love it. So check out Emma's group on Facebook, because that's a really great way to interact with her as well. Watch those lives. Be engaged in that. That's a great way, great asset or resource for people out there. Well, Emma, once again, it has been wonderful having this conversation with you today. As you can tell, I get a little bit giddy when I talk about the brain. Oh, yes, we just popped up on the screen there. We forgot that to mention that she has offered the 30-minute music lesson or 2-hour coaching session. that's complimentary for our listeners. So do reach out at themusicaldiamond.com, or musical diamond, not just the musical diamond, just musicaldiamond.com. And you can also send her an email and stay connected with Emma. So Emma, thank you so much for being on the Brain Lady Speaks podcast videocast this afternoon.
Thank you again, Julie.
Absolutely. Such a wonderful, wonderful topic, and lots of things that we can explore when it comes to talking about music and the brain. So with that, we're going to wrap up the program today. I encourage you to stay connected with us at Brain Lady Speaks. You can reach out. You can follow me on social. Most of the things, everything but Twitter, I am Brain Lady Julie. Actually, I think I'm Purple Brain Lady on Facebook, but Brain Lady Julie Instagram, Brain Lady Julie on LinkedIn. I am just simply Brain Lady at Brain Lady on Twitter. We are trying to be very interactive in those. You can message me through either Instagram or Facebook if you have any questions. You can also visit the website brainladyspeaker.com. I do a lot of professional speaking. You can go to YourBestMind online or YourBestMindLLC.com to see a lot of what I do with corporates and working with entrepreneurs as a business coach and incorporating all of the neuroscience into. I like to tell people I take my endeavor, my goal is to take all of the complicated neuroscience and bring it down into practical value to improve your life, your business, and your relationships. So stay connected with us. If you enjoyed this program, if you found it interesting, if you found little tidbits that you would like other people to hear, then show us some social media love. Give us a thumbs up, give us a positive comment, give us a share so that other people can also benefit from meeting my wonderful guest, Emma, today and hearing this fascinating topic. And with that, I am going to just tell everyone to, just stretch and take a nice deep breath. Go out there, have an amazing day, an amazing afternoon, an amazing evening, or an amazing morning, wherever you're at listening or watching. Take that deep breath and simply enjoy every moment. Thanks for being with us.